into the fire. This is a custom canvas that I have done for a client called Into the Fire. This beautiful, wonderful piece is so jam-packed full of information from spirit, and this client has agreed to allow the reading of their canvas. These canvases are very personal in that they act as a gateway of communication for the client in regards to their personal guidance, their personal guides, their personal angels. It is like their spirit team coming in to feed them all kinds of wonderful information that they can use, genuinely use to their own advancement by being given. A lot of these paintings do actually include gateways into communication with the person's guides, and so these paintings serve almost in a way like portals to the individual's soul spark, and they are wonderful, wonderful tools in helping get out information from spirit. So this client's painting called Into the Fire is quite large, and most of my pieces are quite large paintings, and you would definitely need a large space to house them. And the reason for that is I do find it quite difficult to fit a multitude of message from spirit into a small canvas. So it is just not something I have a desire to limit my services with, and it's just not something I've ever really undertaken with small pieces. So we're gonna get underway because I want to really show you guys and let you understand the messages behind these paintings. So while you are receiving these wonderful pieces of art, they are so much more than that. So let's just begin with the reading. So this client's painting Into the Fire, I'm going to introduce the spirit beings and the guides that have crossed over into the creation of this. It's almost like pulling a gigantic tarot card for yourself that houses your full deck. That's the best way to describe these paintings. So this particular client has had a deceased relative coming in to basically orchestrate what is being given to, in this case, the client is a living daughter, and it will be in her house. So this being riding on horseback is actually a deceased being of the client who has come through with a huge message. So he is riding on this wonderful horse, and he is very much in his human capacity, the way he looked, and he is doing what he loved. He's riding horses. So this being that has crossed over quite some time ago is coming in to share a message of his passing and to give information out to the client in regards to, number one, his whereabouts, and that he really does want the client to understand that he is well. And that is always one of the top messages when we are dealing with past and loved ones that have left us on the earth plane. They generally are doing very well. And so that is what he's coming to say. And then he has brought in many of the clients' spirit guides and angels. So we're going to begin here, and we're just going to go over the basics of this client's reading so that we get a clear picture of what a custom oracle canvas is. So we're going to zoom in here, and we are always making reference to angel numbers. Numbers are very important, so there is no mistakes in the numbers being represented. So this beautiful being who has passed, and we see him here, is basically giving out information of the client's guides or team, and he is bringing forth the explanation of his passing. He's bringing forth an explanation of unity, because he wants us to understand that we all play key roles in understanding new ways of being on the planet. And one of those ways of being is that we will be interacting more with spirit. And so he is bringing us here, and we can see this beautiful portal coming out of the water. This bowl, and although he does look scary, is an angel in its own right, carrying the number 6. And many of us have become associated with the number 6 as a representation of, the 666 and the devil. And that is old, and historically incorrect. And I'm going to go so far as to say biblically incorrect, because the number 6 is not relatable so much to the devil as it is so much as relatable to the process that we undertake in order to balance and find harmony. And so usually the reason for the misunderstanding is that what ensues when we are seeking our own harmony and balance a lot of times is digging through the bulk of the pain. So it really makes you go into your own pain body. Once we become aware of our pain body, we become more capable with the help of our guides of sifting through and gaining higher understanding into why these experiences play out the way they do. And so in this oracle canvas, this wonderful bowl is carrying a number representing peace, harmony, and unity consciousness. And it appears he is chasing the physical being out of the water, and this may seem alarming. However, it is a wonderful gift in that this passed over being is really trying to help us to appreciate the journey, because we don't end up on these journeys by mistake. So within this bowl, basically presenting itself as shadow, he becomes aware of his shadow, the being riding the horse. And in preparedness for fight or flight, which is what humans operate on, he is running from his shadow work. And that is not necessarily the point of shadow work. The point of shadow work is to become aware of the shadow so that we can work with it to find that balance, peace, and harmony within our own lives. And while this particular being comes through to encourage us to do so, this being is also reminding us that in his carnate life as a physical being, he did succumb to the shadow. And this is not being shared as a grievous point of reference from him. He is simply trying to explain away some of the pain body that has transferred from his living experience to the clients. And so we can see that sailboat coming off of turbulent waters, sailing towards the lighthouse. And what the being here is really promoting within his message is that we are all on a journey home, which is the lighthouse, and that journey home does endow our road with turbulence and many disruptions, and it can look like a voyage that is not one we want to take. The point that he is making is that we end up at the lighthouse and we can see the smooth waters coming in. A lot of the work that pops up when my spirits are coming through to guide me involves angel numbers and sacred geometry. So you'll see a lot of that in my works, and it's kind of like a Find Waldo effect in that they really place them in there, and it is up to those observing the work to find them. And you'll find what you find personally, and in a way it is so wonderful because you can look at these paintings so many times and you'll always find something new. So we have in this case with this oracle painting a lot of information coming through from the angel numbers 7 and the angel numbers 4. And I'm going to point out some. I know you can already see these ones coming in here. We have the 777s. And then if we scroll out, we can see a larger 7 here. And then we can start to develop a sense for the 4s. There are so many of them in here. And for some particular reason, let me just see here. Oh, there's that 4 too, and this 4 is by no mistake at the chest plate as a heart. Let's see. Okay, so they're trying to get me to not maybe delve so much into the angel number meanings. They're saying the client themselves will undertake seeking of new knowledge and wisdom within the information they are given. So it would be the onus of the client now to seek further information on the numbers. That is what these paintings are here as well to do, is to really serve you higher consciousness and to show you some ways in which you can grow and expand in your own ways to develop your own intuitive senses. So this being riding a more physical horse would be representing like a 3D type of matrix. And then this wonderful, beautiful horse here is actually representing nature and the elementals, and she is just gorgeous. And that is why she adorns the number 4 at her chest plate. We have the bull chasing the herd. So it really is saying that it isn't a matter of you having done anything wrong in your life. It isn't a matter of you being at lower places. They're trying to show that every single person, every single being, no matter where you sit within your own self-discoveries, will always have shadow work to do. So don't ever feel bad about the shadow work. Shadow work is actually a beautiful gift that our heart has been directed to serve out to us as a compass for guidance. And we really need to start viewing our shadow work as that form of compass and guidance. It's like the North Star home, this beautiful being is telling me. And so we can see that on his right hand side, we are visually imprinted with an etheric horse known as the unicorn. And then on the left hand side, the beautiful elemental who is carrying more 3D capacities again because she is an earth child, is on his other side. So he is completely engulfed with love and support from his team of angels as he has went through his transfer from a carnate being here into non-physicality, into the universe. And that's not what we're going to get into as well, because I could talk forever. So we're going to zoom in here some more to the sky. I want to do it justice. We can see this dragon flying through the sky, disguised by the clouds. And this dragon really comes to clear passage. And we'll find that if we look into dragons, you know, we all have animal totems and different beings that come to support us during this lifetime. Dragons are very renowned for their fire. Obviously, when we think of dragons, we think of the fire spark. But the message in this painting is wanting to show that dragons use their fire to clear turbulence, to clear pathways, and they are phenomenal, phenomenal beings at that particular endeavor. And so if you have a dragon on your team, you are so super lucky. So this one here is actually a water dragon, and it is flying. I'm not saying water dragons can't fly. It is just that its home is actually within the water. We're going to continue on through the storm, and we can see the rainbow light that is really trying to loosen that storm cloud. It is trying to break way for this individual being who is at a mental capacity, having some emotional baggage to work through. And that is where we can see the temple above the clouds coming into play. So there is some work to be done emotionally with the client here. And the oracle painting is going to be giving out a ton of support. That is what is so wonderful too about having a piece of art that you can hang in your home. While this piece hangs in the being's home, it will continue to work on these points of, it's like education. And the reason they're actually using that word is because the client receiving this is a teacher. So they will bring it home with words that are familiar. So we continue to see him riding for the shore. So he, at the forefront of the pack, is following what you'll notice is the only black horse. And the black horse again is representing shadow. And the point of the horse being black here and leading the pack is so that we understand how beautiful the shadow can be when we follow it and we use it as a guiding tool. And you can see that shadow horse really leading the way and bringing them all home. So there's nothing scary here. It is just some work to be done. And that is why we make these oracle paintings, is to help individuals connect to their team of guidance. This being is also having the angels present. And I love it when the angels pop in to my paintings here. So again, so much emphasis on what's going on in the sky, because we are all so focused on our reality, earthbound, that we forget to check in spiritually on a daily basis. And if we could just take a few minutes a day to connect to our heart space, this would help us in monumental ways, is what is being shared for this client. So this client has two angels popping in at these temples, and you can see that they are, of course, residing on a different plane than we are here. And they are looking down and shining light at all of these sacred temples. And they'll go so far, even for this client, as to, they're saying, announce their names. So sometimes you'll get them and they're just present as an angelic force field of energy. And sometimes, like, you never know, every canvas is so different. Sometimes they come in as an introduction to the client to say, hey, Did you know that we were your guides? And that's what's happening here. And they're actually giving me names for two particular angelic beings that are wanting to work with this client because they already do. So we have Archangel Jophiel right here. And then we have Archangel Michael and Raphael. And although you do not see two angels, this being here is telling me that the energy pocket of healing that they are sharing is conducive to both Raphael and Michael. So we have a 3, which is a master number. That is telling me to tell the client to really hone in on the specifics of these 3 angelic beings and learn from them, because they will provide this client with balance, harmony, and a holy trinity way of being, which is balance and harmony and unity living. So such wonderful, wonderful energies coming off this painting. I do love these paintings because I never know what's coming in. And in some ways, I learn things that I have never had come in before. I meet new beings. I connect with new spirit. We're talking about sacred geometry as well in these. And can you guys see the triangles and the circles coming off of the lighthouse? And this is because the entire universe runs off of energy, and energy is a stream of sacred geometry. And so that gives this client a little bit of a fun, new thing to try looking into as well. They might try their hand with some sacred geometry, is what this is telling me. So I think that is a fair amount of information to share without getting super personal, because I don't want to share the really, really deep, personal stuff for you all, because it's personal. But what I have shared here is a very generalized version of the reading that would come with this client's painting, so that you can understand what I mean when I'm talking about oracle paintings. They are so worthwhile